Baby, so we are live for the weekly shred. My name is Jim Schultz. I am your host. I am your tour guide. And man, I really hope you guys are doing pretty well out there, whether you're on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. I really appreciate you guys hanging with me tonight. So, you're getting back in the gym. What are you going to do, right? Like, let's just say hypothetically, tomorrow morning is your first time back in the gym in 4 months. Let's just say, theoretically, you're going to wake up for the first time in about 110 days, and you're going to go to the gym. What are you going to do? Well, sir or madam, I actually find myself in that exact situation. Believe it or not, but tomorrow I am going to be back in the gym for the first time since before Amelia. Well, no, not before Amelia was born. Amelia was born on March 9th. And so I trained a couple of times after that before, the whole world locked down. So it's been about 3.5 months or so. And I cannot even put into words how excited I am. So if you guys are back in the gym, man, let me know in the comments below. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Let me know, what that experience is like. I'm gonna try to let me try to get my comments up here really quick. So let's see here. Give me 2 seconds here to try to fiddle around with this and get this up. I should have done it beforehand, but we didn't. We didn't do it beforehand. And so one of these times I will get it situated beforehand. So so there we go. All right, cool. So we're ready to go. So let me know. Let me know in the comments, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Let me know if you guys are back in the gym, what that's been like, because I'm going in for the first time tomorrow, and I am super excited. So yeah. So weekly shred. Here we are. Let's do it. We got a new background. We're trying to up our game a little bit. You guys can see we are actually we are in the process of moving, and so that's part of the reason why you see so much crap in the background. It's because the studio back here has kind of become the overflow station for a lot of the said crap that we have to move from one place to another. So until we move, which is going to be in a few weeks, it's going to be kind of like this. But I got a whole new studio set up at the new place, and so I'm really, really pumped about this, like more pumped than you guys might ever realize. So, all right, but enough about me. So you are back in the gym. What are you going to do? What do you do when you're back in the gym? Well, I'm going to give you guys a few things to think about, and this is exactly the playbook that I'm going to follow myself. This is exactly what I'm going to do, starting tomorrow morning, and we're going to keep it really, really simple tonight. The first thing is this. You need to establish a core. What I want you to do, and what I'm going to do, is I'm going to pick a couple of movements that I want to get really good at, and those are going to be my foundational movements. I'm going to use those as kind of my core, my pillars, my jumping off points, if you will. And so here's the reason why. So you want to pick a few, compound movements, right? So obviously squats, presses, rows, squats, presses, rows, right? Your basic bread and butter movements. These are going to be good options for you to choose as your core foundational movements. Now, why is that the case? Well, it's really pretty simple. Number one, you want to get really good at these movements. And we're going to talk about why here in point number 2. But actually, number 2, the second reason why you want to establish a core of compound movements is if you pick these correctly, right, you're able to tax a wide expanse of muscle fibers from just a couple of movements, right? Like when you do a barbell row, right, you're torching your lats, you're torching your lower back, your biceps are getting some work, your traps are getting some work, right? Like everything is getting some work, right? When you do a barbell squat, literally your entire body is under load, right? Like everything is moving together to move that load, right? Everything is working cohesively as a unit. This is really, really, really important because, right, if you're anything like me, I am highly deconditioned. Highly deconditioned, right? I mean, I'm not only am I super unathletic right now, but we've got the quarantine bulk, we've got uncoordination, we've got everything working together to basically create what could be potentially a disaster, right? Let me know in the comments. I want to know the first time you were back in the gym, if you've been back in the gym already, let me know. Was it a disaster? Like, let me know. Like, what was it like? Was it a total just catastrophe? Like, be honest, man. I want to know because I think in the morning this might not be too awesome, right? I want to film some of it. I want to try to grab my first set at least just to see how bad it is and get that thing on tape. But I don't know. I may not be mad enough to do it when the bell rings and the lights are on. But we'll see. But if you pick a few movements, right? I'm not going to be able to do very much in the morning. Like, I know that I can't. I don't want to be in a body cast the rest of the week, right? Like, I don't want to be so wrecked that I can't even train. And so I've got to be smart about how I allocate the little bit of energy that I have, right? And so it's like, okay, should I go in there and should I lead off with cable kickbacks? Probably not, right? Should I go in there and should I lead off with, forearm radial twists? Probably not, right? Like, I should probably lead off with something that's going to hit a lot of things at one time with the understanding that I just don't know how much gas is going to be in the tank, right? I'm assuming it's not going to be very much. And so not only are you able to efficiently use your time and efficiently use your energy, but you're efficiently using your system. You're efficiently using your muscles, right? Because again, you do a row, you hit multiple things. You do a squat, you hit multiple things. So I don't know. Let me know, guys. Let me know in the comments. Let me see if we got anything coming in here right now. So nothing as of yet. But let me know. I'm really, really curious to know what you guys think. And on YouTube, I see you guys, man. Hit me up on YouTube. Hit me up in that chat. I'm peeping you guys out. Let me know. Let me know what it was like the first time that you were back in the gym. I'm really curious because I'm doing it in the morning and I need all the help I can get. You guys got to help me out, man. So, all right. So that's the first thing. The first thing that you guys should do is establish a core. Okay. Terrific. The second thing that you should do is you should repeat the core, right? So once you have this core in place, I want you to repeat this core over and over and over again, right? Like, I want you to get really good at these movements. Now, let me give you a really concrete example because I've thought about this. I've been thinking about this for 3.5 months. My 2 movements that I'm going to really focus on for the next however many weeks, however many months, I don't even care. It's going to be squats and it's going to be bench press, right? Because I know that these 2 movements, right, one for lower body, one for upper body, they're going to have a tremendous carryover into so many muscle groups inside of my system, right? They're going to have a tremendous carryover into, so many different, parts of my physique that drastically needs improvement at this point, right? By doing this, though, by establishing this core, I'm going in, I have a very clear plan. I'm like, all right, well, I wouldn't say super clear. I have a less than muddy plan. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to focus on squats. I'm going to focus on bench press, right? These are my main things. By repeating this core, what happens? And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You are going to, you're going to have some really nice neural adaptations in the very beginning. And here's what I mean. Let's say, for example, you are also going to squat for the first time in a few months, right? What's very likely going to happen? And you've squatted before, and this would also be true if you were a brand new beginner, but since that's not my situation, let's pretend that's not your situation either, because that's a little bit different. But if you've squatted before, right, even if it's been a couple of months, what's going to happen? You're going to get in there, you're going to get under the bar, and 135, it's going to be a little heavy. Might be a lot heavy to begin with, right? But then very quickly, what are you going to do? You're going to progress to 155, to 175, to 185, to 2 plates, 225, 2.5 plates, 275. It depends on what your strength limits are, right? It depends on how far you've taken it in your past and where, your strength limits and boundaries currently reside. But the point that I'm trying to make is this. You're going to, improve from 135 to 185 in the blink of an eye, right? You're going to improve from 185 to 245 in the blink of an eye. Right? And by blink of an eye, I mean a couple of weeks, maybe a month at the most. Now let's think about that. Like, let's step back for just a second and let's think about this. Are those muscle gains? Like, are your muscles actually getting that much bigger that they're allowing you to move that load, to move that much heavier load so much more efficiently now? Of course not, right? Muscles don't grow that quickly. Muscles don't grow so quickly in 4 or 5 weeks that you're able to, double your squat in 5 weeks. That's not what's happening. But here's what is happening. Your motor units are becoming far more efficient at that movement. Don't forget, training is a skill, right? Don't forget, these movements, they require skill. They require technique. They require technical mastery, right? all of which is going to be completely rusty when I step into the gym in the morning. Like, it's going to be a train wreck, right? If I can even step back, if I can even do a walkout with 135, I'm going to be pretty happy. I'm going to chalk that up as a W, right? But then pretty quickly, I'll be squatting 135. I'll be squatting 185. I'll be squatting 225, 275, 315, and whatever, right? That's all neural adaptations, right? That's all motor unit efficiency. And so one of the huge benefits to having this core in place and having this clear plan is now I know what I'm going to do, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to squat multiple times per week. I'm going to bench press multiple times per week. Probably just two times per week, nothing crazy, and I'm not going to do super high volume, right? Like, seriously, tomorrow morning, after I warm up, I might only do 3 sets of squats at 135, right? And just to give you some context, you know, like when I'm like humming on all cylinders, I'm usually doing my working sets in like the low to mid 300s for, you know, sets of 5, 6, 8, which is not amazing, right? But just to give you some context as to like where my own strength boundaries are, like that's kind of where I'm at. I might do 3 sets of 135 for 8 reps each set and just call it a day, and then move on to some other things, right? Because again, I want to be aware of my limitations. Right? I'm an old man now. I've got old man joints. And so I've got to go into this with old man thinking. This is very, very important. But either way, man, those motor units are going to get kicking. Those motor units are going to get really well oiled in a very short period of time. 135 is going to feel like nothing. 185 is going to feel like nothing. And it's the same thing for you. And so one of the ways that you can really accelerate your pathway back to where you were, right? Because, you know, I'm frustrated, you're frustrated, we haven't been able to train the way we wanted to train. But now our moment has come. Right now, the lights are finally on, the doors are finally open, and here we go, right? We're off to the races. The more frequently you can do something, the quicker you're going to regain that skill, the quicker you're going to regain that mastery, and the quicker your technique is going to improve. All of which are going to lead you more quickly down to, you know, the strength levels that you were at. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm really curious to know if you guys take a similar approach. Do you take a different approach? Like, let me know in the comments, you know, below, wherever you happen to be watching this, on Facebook, you know, on YouTube, you know, wherever you guys are kind of checking this out. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to establish the core. We're going to repeat the core. And then the last thing, which is a little contradictory to these previous two, is we are going to have variety, right? Now, this might seem to fly in the face of what I just brought up. This might seem to fly in the face of what we were just talking about, right? Because you're like, hey, wait a second, right? You just told me to do the same thing over and over and over again, right? Like, how does this jive with having variety? Well, hear me out. Give me, 3, 5, 13 minutes to make my case. So the core foundation of what we're doing is going to be, or what I'm going to do, I'll just use myself as the example now. The core foundation of what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a couple of movements, right? And I am going to perfect those movements over the course of the next, few months, at least, maybe longer. In addition to that, though, while that's happening, while my body is getting calibrated to those movements, I've got the neural adaptations. I've got the strength gains that aren't really like, strength gains. I've got the motor unit efficiency. It's all coming back to me now, Celine Dion style. In addition to that, what I'm also going to do is throughout the rest of my program, I'm going to make sure that I have variety. Which means I'm not going to only squat and only bench press. I'm going to pick some other movements, of course, that, hit my system from basically as many angles as I can muster. Now, once I pick those movements, I'm going to stick with them for a while. And I'll come back to that here in a second. But I want to make sure that with the accessory movements that I do for all my powerlifting peeps out there, right, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing things from different angles. I'm hitting different, heads of the tricep, heads of the deltoid, angles of my chest. You got quads, you got hams, you got all that stuff, right? It's like putting together a puzzle, right? Honestly, this is like one of the reasons why I just love training and I love bodybuilding, right? It's like it's an art form in so many different ways. But I am going to think through, like I know I'm going to do squats, I know I'm going to do bench press. I haven't really thought through the rest, honestly, because I just learned like 36 hours ago that quads was going to be open tomorrow morning. And so I'm still processing, like, is this actually real life? Or am I just going to wake up to hear Pritzker say, we're going back to phase 0 and everybody shut back in until 2022. Like, I don't know. Like, that's a possibility, right? But nevertheless, I'm going to make sure that I have variety throughout the rest of my program. And here's the reason why. So I'm really deconditioned, right? Just like I kind of brought up. I need conditioning in a big way. Just training at some some level of regularity is going to be an incredible feat for me at this point. Well, I don't want there to only be neural adaptations, right? I don't want there to only be motor unit efficiency and technical mastery, right? My muscles are craving some workload, right? My frame is craving some workload. Like my physique is craving any kind of serious work that I could possibly throw its way. And so, if I only squatted and only bench pressed, like I would be perfectly fine. But I think that there's more to be had if I include other movements too. So, like on a typical chest day, I'm going to do some bench press. I'm going to do some dumbbell work. I'll do some fly work, whether it's with dumbbells, machines, cables, whatever. Like I'm not going to do anything super fancy. Like we're not standing on Bosu balls doing lateral raises or anything like that. Like it's going to be really basic stuff. But I'm going to think through this so that I'm hitting this from a couple of different angles. But here's what I would caution you guys against. And this is a whole separate topic that I don't really want to get into because we'll go till 9 o'clock. But, I don't know, maybe we should go till 9 o'clock. You got to be careful switching things up too frequently. So you got to be careful if you switch things up, every workout, right? Now, you can make a case that that's a decent way to train, right? I'm going to make the counter argument right now, though. I'm going to say that that's not the best way to train. And here's the reason why. If I'm constantly switching things up, right? Take a leg workout, for example. If one day I do squats first, and then the next day I do leg press first, and maybe I don't even do any squats. And then the next day I do some pre-exhaust with some leg extensions first, and then I squat, right? How do you know if you're progressing from one workout to the next? Like, how do you measure progress? Like, that's a legitimate question, right? Do you measure progress by soreness? I mean, that's how I used to measure progress back, in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? That's how everybody kind of measures progress, I think, to begin with, right? Well, the evidence it's pretty clear now, and even through my own experience, it's like soreness is not necessarily the greatest indicator of progress, right? I mean, you could be making tremendous progress and not be getting sore at all. And so I wouldn't necessarily use soreness as the perfect gauge for progress. Because if you keep switching things up, because your body hasn't had a chance to calibrate itself, because your body hasn't had an opportunity to, develop any, neural adaptations, you're going to feel pretty sore from workout to workout, I think. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that trap. They get kind of stuck on that merry-go-round of, the novelty of a new workout. Whether it be because their trainer says they should, or, Instagram says they should, or whatever, right? It's like, I'm going to try this, you got the shiny object syndrome, right? It's like, well, I'm going to try that because, I watched this whack job on Thursday night who has this, this studio that's just littered with crap, and he said that I should, be doing this, so I'm going to try that, right? The problem is, how do you measure progress from workout to workout? So I would encourage you to stick to the same, program for at least 8, 10, 12 weeks. I tend to stick to them for even longer than that, as my students inside of Full Throttle Fat Loss know. But that's just my own personal thing, and I think that does have some benefits, right? Every gimme has a gotcha, but I think that one's got a number of gimmies to it, and so we kind of run that model. But please, for heaven's sake, for all things iron, stick to them for at least 6 weeks, at least 8 weeks, right? Don't be bouncing from workout to workout, or from program to program, each workout or each week, because I think that's a recipe to just spin your wheels for a really, really, really long time. And so, have variety so that you can hit your frame from a number of different angles. So, all right, so let's get you guys a couple of takeaways, a couple of action items, and then we'll get you guys out the door. So train 4 to 5 times per week. Have a few movements that you consistently execute, but don't neglect variety. So this is basically, this is it, man. This is basically the summary of what we just talked about, right? Train 4 or 5 times a week. We're not splitting the atom, right? I'm not describing gravity tonight. This basic stuff, right? I'm going to probably train 4 times a week for a while. I typically like to train 5 times a week. I'm a Monday through Friday guy, but right now, again, old man thinking. I think I'm going to take Wednesdays off. I think that would just be really smart. I may still go in there just because I want to be there. I may go in there. I may just sit in the corner and just breathe in the air. Breathe in the COVID-19 air because I haven't been able to for 3.5 months. I might do that. Or maybe I'll just stretch out and loosen up. But I don't think I'm going to train on Wednesday mornings. Not for a while. But 4 or 5 times a week is plenty. Once you have that in place, right? Have your few movements that you consistently execute, right? Pick a couple of compound guys. Squats would be a great choice. Any type of pressing movement would be a great choice. Any type of row movement would be a great choice. Any type of deadlift would be a great choice, right? These are obviously terrific choices for your compound movements. And then, guys, just have variety, right? Have some variety because you want to improve your conditioning, right? If you're in a similar situation to me where you've had kind of this extended layoff. Now, I mean, I've been training at home and you've probably been training at home, right? But I don't know. Now I'm convinced. I'm actually convinced of two things. Number one, believe it or not, I think you could reach whatever goals you want to reach by training at home. I really legitimately feel that way. But number two, Jim Schultz, do not like training at home. I just don't for a myriad of reasons. But it's just not my jam. It's not my jelly. It's just not what I really enjoy. And so for me, it's been hard to find the motivation in the last couple of months, just to be perfectly frank, right? I mean, for me, it's been hard to find that inspiration to really push it, in those mornings with bands and with 10-pound dumbbells and that kind of stuff. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to breathe in that sweet stench of the iron. Oh my gosh, it's going to be unbelievable. So have some variety, perform your core movements, have a set of core movements and train 4 or 5 times a week. Did it kind of backwards that way, but still the same thing. So that's it, man. That's the weekly show. We got the new studio set up. We're kind of trying to up the game a little bit here, so it's exciting, man. I'm excited for what's coming on down the chutes. If you guys want to like this, that would help me out a ton. If you guys want to share this, that would also help me out a ton. And guys, if I can help with anything, man, just let me know. You can drop a comment below wherever you happen to check this out. You guys can always hit me up on email, just jschultzf3@gmail.com. That would be great too. And that's it, man. I will see you guys next week.